What's up, my creatives? It's your girl Tina. Welcome back to the channel for another video. I hope all is well with you, my family. Listen, we are here because I want to share with you all my first pulls. Yes. Can somebody tell him thank you? Let's get it. All right. So you know that I wanted to get into using jelly plates. And so I sat and did my first pulls this morning. I'm so excited. I think it was time for me to stop looking at videos and actually do it. Couldn't sleep, and so I just got up and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a try. So let me show you all what I did. So I started off with tissue paper, and I bought some regular white tissue paper from Dollar Tree. Okay, I have been following a young lady by the name of Robin, and I can't think of her last name. I think it's Robin McClendon. I think it's Robin McClendon. I know her first name is Robin. I'll put it in the description box. I had came across her channel, and I had started following her and watching her videos. And so she simply said that she was using Dollar Tree tissue paper. And so here's the thing with Dollar Tree tissue paper. She instructed you to look at the paper very clearly. On one side, you have the tissue effect, right? A dull effect. On the opposite side, you have a more shiny, smooth texture. And she was saying that when you use the tissue paper, to always lay the shiny part onto your plate to pull the print. Do not use the dull tissue part. So that was one thing that I got from her video. So I wanted to try it. I got the tissue paper, and it did work as she said. I used a lot of paint on some of the pulls. I used a little paint on some of the pulls, and on both of them I was successful. In my mind, I was thinking, you all, tissue paper is so thin and it's so fragile. I could not comprehend how this tissue paper would stand together once it hit the wet paint. But it does. It really does. Even in the times that I use more paint than the other pulls, and it still did not tear. So that was a good tip that she shared, and she is so correct. It does work. At least it did for me, and it's working for her. So let me show you the plate that I used. I used the 5x7 gel plate. And this was my first time using this plate too. I've had it for a while, but again, I told you all, I just was watching videos, trying to get familiar with the technique, trying to wrap my mind around to understand the steps that entail this technique and how they were going to work. And so I just jumped in. I just cold jumped in this morning about 2:30 this morning. Couldn't rest. I jumped in. All right. So with the tissue paper, first let me tell you all what paints I use. All of these paints I got from Walmart, 50 cents, or sometimes I found two of them on clearance for 10 cents. So I use this lavender because y'all know what? Yes, your girl do all things first in purple. I know y'all laughing at me. I use this lavender Americana. I use this Craftsmith Violet. That had this for years. All right. I also use this Lilac Mist Apple Barrel. I use Apple Barrel Royal Violet. And then you all's Americana Desert Turquoise. And lastly, I use Ocean Breeze. This is a Craft Smart paint. I've had this for a long time. This is one of my 10-cent paints. All right, so you all know I love purple. That's my favorite color, so I do all things in purple first. Now, where did the turquoise and the ocean come from? I'm gonna tell you. I got the inspiration from this Bo Bunny enchanted garden. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. Designer paper that I had, and you see the little greens, the little turquoise, and the 3 different shades of purple. So that's where I got the idea to pull the turquoise and that little desert breeze. All right, okay, let's dive in. This is the tissue paper prints that I pulled off. So I started, you know, with the purple, right? No rhyme, no reason. Let me put this right here over my jelly plate because I don't want nothing to happen to my jelly plate. I need to put it up, but I learned from another YouTuber that it's best if you kind of let your plate air dry a little bit after wiping it down. Some people don't wipe theirs down. Y'all know I have a little touch of, you know, I gotta have stuff clean and orderly, so I just can't leave random paint on my on my plate. So the lady was suggesting, and I cannot remember her name. If I do, I will come back and put it in the description box. She was suggesting to let your plate like air dry. So that's what I was kind of doing before I store it. So let me just move it over here because I don't want to cover it. All right, so here we go. This is a purple, and I use 3 different shades in there. Move this out the way. Here's 2 of the darker purples together. I really like it, you all. Now, let me say, the drying time on the tissue paper was like seconds to none. Soon as I pull it and put it to the side, and I laid the next paper down and pulled that one, I look over, the one that I put previous was already dry. So the drying is like seconds, which I love. This is 3 different shades of the purple. So I tried to do dark, medium, and then light. And the pulls, you all, I did not get one tear. I mean, not one tear. So now I'm starting to incorporate the turquoise and the ocean. The aqua ocean, I think that's what it was called. Let's see. The ocean breeze. All right. And you can see how those colors pop in. So I have been keep watching the videos, and I see people mix the colors together on the plate at the same time. So they will put dots of one color, dots of another color, and then they would just braid in. And in my mind kept saying it's going to go to another color, because when you mix 2 colors together, you know, you'll come up with a different color. You all, it did not mix. It like the colors like really stand alone. I can't explain it. I know what I'm trying to say. I'm probably not explaining it well, but I do know that much, that you can mix like black and white and you get gray. You can mix, you know, colors together and get other colors. I love it. But for some reason in this technique, the colors stand by themselves. Okay. Now I noticed that in the times that I put more paint, my paper was a little bit wrinkler when I laid it down. You see those kind of like wrinkles? Versus when I put little paint, the paper came out smooth. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's a good one. This one got wrinkles in it, and the paper, you can see where the paper was wrinkled, the white spots. But when I did like the paper, a little bit of paint, you don't hardly see that. So it does make a difference, like watching the amount of paint that you put on the plate. Here's my thing. I have to get used to this because I am naturally heavy-handed. For real, all jokes aside, I'm heavy-handed in everything I do. So I have to, like, cautiously or intentionally, I should say, tell myself, try to apply light. Do a little bit, Tina. I had to talk to myself during this process because some of them, oh my God, this one took my breath away. Absolutely love you all. This one right here, I could not stop looking at. I love the way that that came out. Like hints of different colors everywhere. Then you have the boldness of some of the colors. I love this one. All right, so these are the ones that I did with the tissue paper. Again, I had no tears. None of my tissue paper teared up. I was super, super shocked. I mean, this is very relaxing, very calming. And this is the last one, you all. And this is the one where Robin talks about cleaning her gel plate. And so on this one right here, this is like the last pull of the plate. And it was just like bare minimum paint left on there, right? And Robin just said, take your paper and lay it down and pull it up. And this is what you would consider cleaning your plate. And you are actually every speckle of paint that was left vaguely, because you could barely see it, but you knew that it was there. She said, do not take a wet wipe. Put the paper down and clean the plate. And the plate came up clean. All of that dried up paint, the residue and everything came onto this pool. I really thought that was magic. I really like that. All right, you all. So not only did I do it in tissue paper, but I also did it in just plain copy paper. Robin talked about using plain copy paper. Now, some other people that have done videos on this, they use all different types of paper. I wanted to start off with the basics because, again, I'm learning. I'm getting familiar with. I'm self-educating myself. What works for one person may not work for another, and I realize that. So I'm just getting familiar with this whole technique, this whole style, and the whole entire process. So I want to start off with the mere basics, okay? So I used the tissue paper, which was recommended or shown by Robin. A lot of her videos, she used the plain Dollar Tree tissue paper. And then she also do pulls with just regular copy paper. So I pulled out regular copy paper, and what I did was I cut it in half. So copy paper is 8.5 by 11. I cut it down the middle at 5.5, and I got two sheets out of one, which will give me 2 pulls off one sheet. Okay, because this is a 5 by 7. This is a 5 by 7 sheet. Now, somebody also told me to make sure, Miss D, hey Miss D, these special things here on YT. Miss D said make sure that the paper overlaps your plate so that you'll be able to get, you know, a smooth pull and there's enough access all the way around. So this actually works. I didn't need no more extra paper leaning off the side. So I figured, why use up a whole sheet for one pull when I could get 2? So let me show you all the pulls that I got from my copy paper. Oh, I used the same colors, you all, that I was using with the tissue paper, and I just want to see the effect. Now, with the tissue paper, it's very, you know, fragile and delicate because tissue paper is very thin. So now I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, what type of projects will I be using to incorporate these tissue paper pulls, or prints. I think that's what they're called. Prints, because it's so fragile, it's so light. Now we have the copy paper. We have something a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more thicker. I can already imagine the things I could do with the copy paper versus the tissue paper. But I'm sure as I go along, you all, I'm going to find a lot of ways that I could use the prints that I printed on my tissue paper. All right, so copy paper, we starting off with all of our purples. Now, let me say this off the bat. With the copy paper, it took the drying a little bit longer. So I would say a minute or two for the copy paper versus 2 to none seconds of the tissue paper. Now, when I used more paint, because I purposely did that on some prints because I wanted to see the effect that I would have. Will the paper absorb it where it would tear? Would I get more crinkles if I use more paint? Was it going to be the same experience that I had with the tissue paper? And I'm going to say I basically had the same experience. I had no tears, number one, with my copy paper. Even when I used more paint purposely, I had more wrinkles when I used more paint because it was more paint on the plate, and my pages, I found them sliding. So I know that I have to be careful with the amount of paint that I put on the plate, because Robin talks about all the time, you don't want your paper to slide, and you don't want your brayer to be slippery. That's how you know you probably have too much paint. All right, so let me run you through these. Once again, I really love how they all turned out. To me, the finished look is a little different from the tissue paper. I love it. This is more of like a chalky kind of like look. To me, the tissue paper final look was like a little matte, but I do love it. Okay, so as you can see, I have room on the edges. This one was a little bit too close, but I can always cut that down and use it for something. Okay, I incorporated 2 colors here. Y'all see that? Here's one. I just used 1 color, and this was a print that was like a 3rd generation print. So you know I put a lot of paint on there if this much coverage came off the 3rd pull of the same paint. Okay. Love the way that this came out. Some places I press with my brayer a little heavier than others. I have to learn how to be consistent in my applying the paint, right? So here's another print. This is like a 4th generation, almost gone, right? Now, when I transfer to adding the Ocean Breeze and the turquoise, I did not clean the plate. So here we have, this is like a 4th generation pool. Then I just went in on top of what the residue that was left from this, instead of cleaning the plate, and I applied new dots and then just continued. All right. So if you look like up in here, you could see where it was 4th generation down through there. I like it. All right, this is just with 2 of them. Ocean Breeze and some of the purple. This one I absolutely love. I like the effect of this. This like gave me a water vibe. I love this one. Okay. Here's another one with several colors in it. Just mixed it up. Now this is one that I purposely put a lot of paint on there, and I could tell the thickness, the heaviness. Yeah, I could tell that this was one of the ones that I put a lot. All right, this is probably a 2nd or 3rd generation. And then we have this one right here. Okay, so you all, I'm learning. I really like this technique. I really do like the way that this all came out. Again, this is a new experience for me. I really like it. I'm looking forward to doing some creating with these prints. Right now, these are the colors that I chose, but I plan to experiment and explore other colors. All right, so if anybody out there has a gel plate and you are familiar with doing gel prints, please invite me to your channel. Let me know. Send me some links in the comment section so that I can come over to your channel and see the things that you have done. If you have created with your prints, please send me a link to one of your videos so I can see what you created with your prints. I am having so much fun. I thought this was going to be messier than what it was, but you all, it really, really was not that messy. You know, the messier and gooier and stickier and wetter that it is wetter a word? Probably not. But anyway, you know, all of that wetness come on my hands and stuff. I love it. And actually, I could feel stress relief from me when I use wet mediums. I know it's crazy, but it's Tina. And can somebody tell him thank you? Leave me some comments. Wash them hands and do what? Keep creating. I love you, family. See you on the next video.